Thank you. Please tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Yeah.
Tell like how violent it really is. This is about protecting our children. It's more than just politics or votes or just anything. It's about national security, protecting Americans, protecting our children. Thank you. And thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm ready to cry.
Who is affiliated with MS-13.
There is no evidence to that.
Let's set the record straight about who this person is.
There's no.
The case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia does not have to do with MS-13.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit.
As the evidence, you know the word she was just saying, there's no evidence? As the evidence shows that he is a verified member of MS-13. So I want y'all to look at that.
And look forward to further efforts to make sure that we crack down on violent gangs.
Today we have officially learned Democrat officials still refuse to accept the will of the American people. Maryland Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen rushed to Dulles Airport this morning to fly to El Salvador, potentially using taxpayer dollars, to demand the release of deported, illegal, alien MS-13 terrorist. The Democrats and the media in this room have continually and wrongly labeled Kilmar Abrego Garcia as a Maryland father. There is no Maryland father. Let me reiterate. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is an illegal alien, MS-13 gang member and foreign terrorist who was deported back to his home country. And when Kilmar Abrego Garcia was originally arrested, he was wearing a sweatshirt with rolls of money covering the ears, mouth, and eyes of presidents on various currency denominations. This is a known MS-13 gang symbol of hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. Abrego Garcia was also arrested with two other well-known members of the vicious MS-13 gang. And two separate judges found that Abrego Garcia was a member of MS-13, and that finding has never been disputed. And just this morning, it was revealed through Maryland court documents that Abrego Garcia's wife petitioned for an order of protection against him for 2 instances of domestic violence in May of 2021. And here is the order right here. The court ordered that the respondents committed the following acts of abuse. Once in May of 2021, assault in any degree. And on May 4th of 2021, he punched and scratched his wife, ripped off her shirt, and grabbed and bruised her. This is from a court in Maryland. So not only are Democrats rushing to defend an illegal criminal foreign terrorist gang member, but also an apparent woman beater. To set all of that aside, the basic fact that he was illegally inside our country and had a lawful deportation order made him subject to removal back to his home country of El Salvador. And if he ever ends up back in the United States, he would immediately be deported again.
The case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia does not have to do with MS-13.
What?
Who is affiliated with MS-13.
There is no evidence to that.
Let's set the record straight about who this person is.
There is no evidence that he was a gang member.
With all due respect, if the Department of Justice has come out and said that he has gang affiliations, just like the same man who killed Rachel Morin had gang affiliations. So you would have told me before Rachel Morin's death, you would have defended that man and said he had no gang affiliations, and he went on to kill Rachel Morin. So instead of defending this gentleman, talk about who he actually is, and talk about the risk in keeping illegal criminals in this country. This is exactly what President Trump was elected to do, to return these people back to their home countries, and that's what he did.
We're not defending him. I'm going to reiterate that is unsubstantiated. There is no evidence of him being a gang member. He was married.
Okay, so there's no evidence of this guy being a gang member. Interesting. Interesting. I just happen to have here with me, which I can show you. Let's bring it up, shall we? Shall we bring this up so you guys can see it yourself? All right, this, as you're looking at, let me see if I can blow it up. Oh, I blew it up too much, so let me try this window here. And I think what I'll do is I'll bring it down. Let's try and make this so everybody can see it right here. There we go. All right. This is the actual court document from, let's see, April 19th, 2019, in which this individual was charged in the immigration court right here, United States Department of Justice, Executive Office for Immigration Review, Baltimore, Maryland. Okay. And it goes on, and it goes here to the respondent, meaning the dude, the perp, is a native and citizen of El Salvador. That was established 6 years ago. On March 29th, yada yada, sets forth the following factual allegations. 1. The respondent is not a citizen or national of the United States. Nope, he's not from here. Number 2, he is a native and citizen of El Salvador. 3, he arrived in the United States illegally. 4, he was not then admitted or paroled. Those are all facts. All right, so nothing yet about the gang, but can we all agree that 1, he's not from here. Number 2, he came here illegally. It's in the filing from 2019, right? That should not be up for debate. But somehow these people, that's all they do. They want to, I don't know, obfuscate and BS people when there's really nothing to, as they say, obfuscate or BS. On page 2, after considering the information provided by both parties, the court concluded, and let me make that no bond was appropriate. The court first reasoned that the respondent failed to meet the burden of demonstrating that his release from custody would not pose a danger. As the evidence, you know the word she was just saying, there's no evidence? As the evidence shows that he is a verified member of MS-13. So I want y'all to look at that. As the evidence put forth in the court hearing in 2019, the evidence shows he's a verified member of MS-13. I'm just some guy with a YouTube channel in Boca Raton, Florida, and I found this. You're telling me politicians with huge staffs and budgets and news organizations, they couldn't find this?
And I told the vice president that for over 2 decades, I have worked in my state of Maryland to crack down on MS-13.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Your senator going to bat for this illegal, but did he ever say anything to you and your family about your loss? To ever call you, ever take the time to be with you?
No, actually, I'm very angry. I'm actually outraged, but I'm too sad at the moment to show anger at the same time. He did not call our family. He did not give condolences. There was no action on the Democrat Democratic Party in any way, from Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Mayorkas, anyone here in Maryland, none of the senators did anything to help search for the murderer of my daughter.
If you listen to President Trump and the Trump administration, you would think that the U.S. courts have found that Mr. Abrego Garcia is part of MS-13, but in fact, they have not found that.
As the evidence, you know the word she was just saying, there's no evidence? As the evidence shows that he is a verified member of MS-13. So I want y'all to look at that. As the evidence put forth in the court hearing in 2019, the evidence shows and he's a verified member of MS-13. I'm just some guy with a YouTube channel in Boca Raton, Florida, and I found this. You're telling me politicians with huge staffs and budgets and news organizations, they couldn't find this?
And so why not release Abrego Garcia today?
Oh, hell no!
And he said what President Bukele said the other day at the White House, which that El Salvador can't smuggle Mr. Abrego Garcia into the United States. And I said, I'm not asking him to smuggle Mr. Abrego Garcia into the United States. I'm simply asking him to open the door of CCOT and let this innocent man walk out.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit?
Because I promised his wife Jennifer, and his mother and his brother and their family, because he has 3 children.
Today we have officially learned Democrat officials still refuse to accept the will of the American people. Maryland Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen rushed to Dulles Airport this morning to fly to El Salvador, potentially using taxpayer dollars, to demand the release of deported, illegal, alien MS-13 terrorists. The Democrats and the media in this room have continually and wrongly labeled Kilmar Abrego Garcia as a Maryland father. There is no Maryland father. Let me reiterate. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is an illegal alien, MS-13 gang member and foreign terrorist who was deported back to his home country. And when Kilmar Abrego Garcia was originally arrested, he was wearing a sweatshirt with rolls of money covering the ears, mouth, and eyes of presidents on various currency denominations. This is a known MS-13 gang symbol of hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. Abrego Garcia was also arrested with 2 other well-known members of the vicious MS-13 gang. And 2 separate judges found that Abrego Garcia was a member of MS-13, and that finding has never been disputed. And just this morning, it was revealed through Maryland court documents that Abrego Garcia's wife petitioned for an order of protection against him for 2 instances of domestic violence in May of 2021. And here is the order right here. The court ordered that the respondents committed the following acts of abuse. Once in May of 2021, assault in any degree. And on May 4th of 2021, he punched and scratched his wife, ripped off her shirt, and grabbed and bruised her. This is from a court in Maryland. So not only are Democrats rushing to defend an illegal criminal foreign terrorist gang member, but also an apparent woman beater.
I promised them that I would do everything I could to get him out of CCOT.
What?
On that note, the Democrat and media outrage over the deportation of Abrego Garcia, an MS-13 El Salvadorian illegal alien criminal who is hiding in Maryland has been nothing short of despicable. Based on the sensationalism of many of the people in this room, you would think we deported a candidate for Father of the Year. That's because, unfortunately, many in this country care more about this quote-unquote Maryland father, a legal alien MS-13 gang member, than a Maryland mother and an American citizen who was brutally murdered at the hands of a different illegal alien. Of course, I am referring to Rachel Morin.
I also told his wife and family that I would try to meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia while I was here.
What are your thoughts on your senator going to bat for this illegal, but did he ever say anything to you and your family about your loss, to ever call you, ever take the time to be with you?
No, actually, I'm very angry. I'm actually outraged, but I'm too sad at the moment to show anger at the same time. He did not call our family. He did not give condolences. There was no action on the Democratic Party in any way, from Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Mayorkas, anyone here in Maryland, none of the senators did anything to help search for the murderer of my daughter.
So I asked the vice president if I could meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia. And he said, well, you need to make earlier provisions to go visit CCOT. I said, I'm not interested at this moment in taking a tour of CCOT. I just want to meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia. He said he was not able to make that happen. I asked, he said he needed a little more time. I asked him if I came back next week, whether I'd be able to see Mr. Abrego Garcia. He said he couldn't promise that either. So I asked him if I could get on the phone, either video phone or just a phone, and talk to Mr. Abrego Garcia. So I could just ask him how he's doing so I could report back to his family. He said he could not arrange that. He said maybe if the American...
And tonight, justice for Rachel Morin, the illegal immigrant who raped and murdered the Maryland mother of 5 in 2023, was found guilty on all counts. The jury, they deliberated for less than an hour before deciding to convict. Now, that's how clear-cut this case was. So while justice did prevail in this case, Rachel should be alive today. Her killer should never have been allowed into our country. There's blood on the hands of every single person that allowed this to happen. Democrats have allowed over 12 million plus illegals, gotaways, including known terrorists, murderers, rapists, other violent criminals, drug dealers, cartel members into our country. And even today, they are championing their so-called rights over your safety. How many more Americans will be victims to these violent criminals committed by these Biden-Harris illegals? Anyway, tonight, our thoughts and prayers are with everyone in Rachel's family, her 5 children, and her mother, Patty Morin, who joins us now. Patty, thank you for being with us. I appreciate it. I've had the opportunity to talk to you before, and I want to get your reaction to the verdict. And it will never bring back your daughter. It will never bring back the mother of your 5 grandchildren. How do you feel about it? Maybe you have some vindication, but I'm sure it's in a lot of ways hollow, right?
Yeah. First, you have to understand and I think the American people don't understand the gruesome brutality of the crime. And a lot of the details were left out when they gave us kind of like the outline of what they were going to present to the prosecutors. But when you were actually sitting in the courtroom, when we were there for the whole trial, and they showed over 500 pieces of evidence and very, very graphic crime scene photos and autopsy photos. And when you saw that 3/4 of her brain was hemorrhaged, that 3/4 of her skull was bashed in, she had a 6-inch square in the back of her head where the skull was shattered the way that you would crush an eggshell. She had her face was bashed in. She had literally bruises, contusions, scrapes all over her body. The murderer dragged her 150 yards as blood gushed out of her head into the tunnel. And then he put her up against the tunnel wall and raped her. And you could see her body, and you see the outline of blood from her head running down. So you see the outline of her body in blood on the tunnel wall. These are the kind of people that the Biden-Harris administration has allowed into our country. And they think that it's okay to defend them instead of defending my daughter and protecting us. I don't understand that. So I'm having seen the evidence and seen the gruesome brutality that my daughter had to endure. I am very grateful to all the law enforcement and all the investigation and all the different law enforcement agencies that work to find the suspect and to bring him to justice. So when we heard the verdict, it was very sad because we had to relive and see everything that my daughter suffered. But then at the same time, we were convinced that this was the murderer and that justice was served.
No mother should have to live through what you've lived through and had to sit through a trial like this. It was the most preventable national security crisis that was created. Did you ever get a call from Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or Alejandro Mayorkas or your Senator Von Hollen, who made a big deal about he's going to go to El Salvador and bring home this one illegal from El Salvador, who Democrats are saying had no business being sent back to his home country. He was in this country illegally, and I will point out that that it was determined by a judge that the respondent is a gang member in this case. And did they ever call you? And what are your thoughts on your senator going to bat for this illegal? But did he ever say anything to you and your family about your loss? To ever call you, ever take the time to be with you?
No, actually, I'm very angry. I'm actually outraged, but I'm too sad at the moment to show anger at the same time. He did not call our family. He did not give condolences. There was no action on the Democratic Party in any way, from Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Mayorkas, anyone here in Maryland, none of the senators did anything to help search for the murderer of my daughter.
Nobody knows this more than the woman standing to my right, Patty Morin, whose beautiful daughter Rachel was brutally maimed and murdered at the hands of an illegal alien in August of 2023. Patty no longer has her daughter because of the failed Democrat Party's open border, and these are policies that President Trump is bringing an end to. Patty should not have to be here today, but she is, and we are grateful and we are honored for her willingness and her request to share her powerful story with the world. Thank you, Patty, for being here.
Thank you. A lot of you don't know the whole story about Rachel and about the crime that was committed against her. Even us, her family, we didn't know all the details. They kept most of it close to their chest, the detectives, because they didn't want to do anything to hurt the case. They wanted to keep the integrity of the case, so they kept everything close. I sat for the last 2 weeks in her trial, and we saw layer upon layer upon layer of evidence against the accused, an illegal immigrant from El Salvador. And the things that we thought, well, maybe this might have happened, we didn't know. But when we were at the trial, we got all the puzzle pieces. And I want to share some of those things with you. You know that Rachel's a 37-year-old mother. She has 5 children. We've walked the trail for the last 25 years that we've lived in Maryland. It's a safe place for our family. It's where we go to get a little bit of New England, because that's where we're from, New England. When she went on that trail that day, she was not planning on dying. She wasn't planning on walking to her death. She was planning on going to the grocery store with her girls afterwards. Victor Martinez, he waited for her. He waited for her to come closer. He saw her. He saw that there was nobody around. He attacked her. He dragged her 150 feet, blood gushing from her head. It left a 150-foot trail of her blood to the culverts, where he picked her up, he threw her against the wall of the tunnel, and he raped her. But before he did that, he stopped on that trail, and rocks, still stained with her blood, he used them to hammer her head against those rocks. They say at least 20 times they could count the cuts in her head. They said that when they did the autopsy, and I've seen the pictures, there's a 6-inch square in the back of her head where the skull is shattered the way that you would crush an eggshell in pieces. 3/4 of her brain hemorrhaged. Her right and left side of her face bashed in. Her beautiful face bashed in. Her head bashed in. Broken bones, fractures. He takes and he drags her some more. He drags her through the thorn bushes. She has all the scrapes and cuts on her body. There wasn't 1 inch of her body that didn't have some kind of injury, whether it's bruising, broken bones, contusions, the scratches. She had a fractured rib, fractured nose, fractured skull. And then he takes her into the tunnel, and he picks her up. He throws her against the wall. Blood is gushing from her head. Her hair is soaked in blood. And they showed us pictures of her body against the wall, outlined. The blood outlined her body. And you could see where the blood ran down around her as he was raping her. And then he threw her down and raped her some more. And then he strangled her because he didn't want her to be able to live to tell the story. They said that when they did the autopsy on her neck, that one of the things they do is they open up the neck and they look to see how far the injury is. And they went all the way down as far as an injury is possible, hemorrhaging in the muscles, because of how strong and violent the group was around her. These are the kind of people that have no compulsion. Like, to them, this is nothing. And when he was sitting in the courtroom, he actually looked like he thought he was going to be set free. There was no remorse on his face at all. This person took my daughter so violently and so gruesomely, and so graphically that they sealed the pictures, because I don't want my granddaughters to see these pictures. These are the kind of criminals President Trump wants to remove from our country. These are the kind of criminals that we need to remove from our country. We are American citizens. Why should we allow people like this, violent criminals that have no conscience at all, to murder our mothers, our sisters, our daughters? I don't understand why there's even any kind of problem with this. And it's not that it's political, like the left or the right, although I understand different parties have used it in the past. But we have to look at it as we are American citizens. We need to protect our families, our borders, our children. I don't care about politics. Well, I do, but I want to preserve life. And that's the only reason why I have taken and spoken about Rachel all this time. If you're a mother here in the room, can you imagine standing there alive? You're alive, and someone comes and puts their hands into your chest and rips out your heart? That's what it feels like. It feels like a part of you is being ripped out of you. You can't even describe the pain. Just like you can't describe to your husband what it feels like to carry a baby in your womb, or to feel those first kicks, or to know just intuitively if it's a boy or a girl. It's only a thing that a mother knows. Why are we not protecting the American citizens? It's just common sense. Why are we not protecting our children? And to have a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge or barely acknowledged my daughter and the brutal death that she endured, leaving her 5 children without a mother and now a grandbaby without a grandmother, so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen. Why does that person have more right than I do, or my daughter, or my grandchildren? I don't understand this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I just want to say that as a mother and as an American citizen, the president and our entire team, and I hope people in this room are grateful for your willingness to come here and your request to share your daughter's story. And I think the country hears you loud and clear. So thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Patty or for me? No?
I have a question.
No? Anybody? Okay. We'll see you all later. The president will be at his dinner later this evening. Thank you.
Thank you for being here this morning.
We really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please, I'm so sorry
for your loss.
Thank you. Please tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Yeah.
Tell like how violent it really is. This is about protecting our children. It's more than just politics or votes or just anything. It's about national security, protecting Americans, protecting our children. Thank you. And thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm ready to cry.
So Maryland Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen is heading to El Salvador today, where a legal immigrant and suspected MS-13 gang member Kilmar Abrego Garcia is being held while the Trump administration fights his return to the U.S.
I don't even know if we announced this, but I am planning tomorrow to go to El Salvador to work to bring him home. The Trump administration themselves admitted in federal court that he was wrongfully abducted from the United States.
Truly incredible. This comes as House Democrats are reportedly planning to send a delegation to the mega prison where he's being held. Let's bring in the man himself. Border czar Tomhoman joins us now. Tom, I just want to focus on one portion when the senator said that he was abducted. As the former leader of ICE, what do you say to him?
He wasn't abducted. He's an MS-13 gang member, classified as a terrorist that was removed from this country. So we got rid of a dangerous person, an El Salvadoran national, was returned to the country of El Salvador, so he's home. We removed him from the United States. He's a public safety threat, and that's exactly what should have happened. And I'm just disgusted that any congressional representative is going to run to El Salvador at his aid. When yesterday, I read in his state, an illegal alien charged with murder was released back into the community, and not the ICE detainer wasn't honored, and ICE had to go find him in his state. In his state, the murder of Rachel Morin yesterday. Listen to the testimony and listen to the mother on Handy last night. If you're not human, then your heart wasn't broken. It's just in his state. But rather than taking care of the constituents in his state, the victims of illegal crime in his state, he's going to run to El Salvador to protect an MS-13 terrorist. It's just disgusting.
You just talked about that sound from Patty Moore and Rachel's mom. We actually have it. Let's play it.
I'm very angry. I'm actually outraged, but I'm too sad at the moment to show anger at the same time. There was no action on the Democratic Party in any way, from Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Mayorkas, anyone here in Maryland, none of the senators did anything to help search for the murderer of my daughter.
Tom, where were the phone calls? Where were the congressional delegations at her funeral, supporting her family when she was killed?
They don't care.
By an illegal.
They don't care. When further on in the testimony, in her interview, she talks about how her young daughter died, how she suffered, how she fought for her life. Just like and Riley, for how long? 17 minutes she fought for her life. That young girl didn't want to die. So these congressmen and senators how do these women die? Look how they fought for their lives. Do they have daughters? Do they have any care at all for American citizens that are victims of these crimes? But they're loud and screaming now about this MS-13 game. I mean, where were they when we had 12 million illegal aliens coming across the border? Where were they when we had a 600% increase in sex trafficking? Where were they when we had 4,000 aliens dying making this journey under Joe Biden? Where were they when 250,000 Americans dying from fentanyl? It's just ridiculous. Every day I can't believe what I'm hearing. Yesterday I hear about a case from Washington State. 2 illegal aliens from Venezuela kidnapped and tortured and tried to kill a woman, robbing her using a power drill, torturing her and drilling through her hand. Every day I sit at the White House and hear these cases of sanctuary cities not helping ICE remove public safety threats from their communities.
Well, Tom, the proof is in the pudding, and we're looking at the border now, and there's just there's a stark contrast between the border now versus under Joe Biden. Here's some of the footage right there where you can see during the Biden years, and now look at it now. I mean, it's almost operational control, and it's just not the imagery. When you look at the numbers, 95% down when it comes to those crossing numbers. How are you able to get it done and so quickly with no legislation passed?
Because I work for the greatest president of my lifetime, Donald Trump. He secured that border in 5 weeks. He did in 5 weeks what Joe Biden couldn't or wouldn't do in 4 years. Today, as we're talking right now, Lawrence, we have the most secure border in my lifetime right now because of President Trump's actions. And again, get back sanctuary cities, they want to keep their game going. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get together with Secretary Noem. We're going to flood these sanctuary cities with federal agents. If we can't arrest a bad guy in the jail, we're going to arrest him on the street. We got to do it stronger. We got to do it faster. If we can't do it in the streets, then we're going to increase worksite enforcement operations in those sanctuary cities. We're going to flood worksite enforcement operations. If we can't arrest them at the home, then we'll arrest them at workplace. We're coming to sanctuary cities. We're going to put all hands on deck. Sanctuary cities are not going to get away with this illegality that's killing Americans at record numbers. I'm disgusted at every representative on the Hill who isn't fighting with ICE to arrest every public safety threat, every national security threat roaming around these communities. President Trump made a promise. We're going to keep that promise.
Well, the proof is in the pudding, as I said. He's definitely keeping his promise, and so are you, Tom. Thanks for joining the show this morning.